Welcome, fantasy managers, to my corner of the house where only I exist. Week 17 was the finals. Let us know if you won or lost in the comments. And we'll talk about players who either won you that title or lost you that title in Week 17. And if your commissioner is a psychopath and has the fantasy finals set in Week 18, well, we have streamers for that too. We also have fantasy news. I know you're interested, so stick around for 7 seconds.
Hey, what's up, Zoners? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Jason, the floating head Ethan Wolt, coming at you live from the West Coast. This is the Fantasy Red Zone. Today we have our news for you, the latest fantasy breaking news. We're going to share it with you, give you our thoughts, dear Lord. Then, Jason, we are going to go over our starts of the week, how they did, and then, hey man, we got some streamers for you, some people probably on your waiver wire that have some good matchups. Then, to the meat of the episode, Jason. If you had somebody that did shitty and you're like, what the hell happened? Go to the crashes. If you had somebody that won you a championship and you want to see what the hell we think about that, go to the smashes. But Jason, before we get into all of that, would you please tell the public how they can help this show, because we need it.
Yeah, if you guys made it this far, if you can hit the subscribe, press the like. We like the likes. Let us know in the comments. Did you win? Or better yet, how much money did you win? Money is important, especially in these fantasy football leagues, right? How much did you win? We're also on the radio or on Spotify, the Fantasy Red Zone.
When you started doing your eyes like that, Jason, I was waiting for that Robert De Niro.
These shoes.
This fantasy team. These fantasy
teams. You want to talk about money? Take it to the desert.
Big news. Jason won one of our leagues. Got third place, I think, in the other.
Yep.
Congratulations to his father, Steven Uthenwolt, for winning our main league that I have all my emotions invested in.
He came in second.
Shit. Congratulations to Diana Uthenwolt, Jason's sister, for the Uthenwolt family is running this. It's like a goddamn mob movie.
It is. It's in the family. It's family.
Dude, all this we're Italian today, Jason.
I gotta stop.
All right, news for yous. Arthur Smith, Jason, your favorite person in the world, man. I've been growing out my mustache just for Arthur Smith. I'm like, how can I be a better fantasy football manager? I gotta be more like Arthur Smith. Not let anybody know what I'm doing. Totally unpredictable.
Yeah.
Zero consistency. Hey, he's gonna return to the Falcons next season, dude.
I'm done with the Arthur Smith stress, man. I'm done with it. I can't handle it. It's too much. Why is he coming back? I don't know. It's oh my god. Did you see like his quarterbacks? His two quarterbacks that he was very impressed with in the offseason. They both totaled like 5 interceptions in yesterday's game. It's like, oh my gosh. And they're like, you know what? We'll bring him back for another chance.
Well, so Bijan Robinson automatically, to me, Jason, maybe third round, dude, late second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the time all the offseason hype, he's going to be a second or late first rounder. But god damn it, Jason, if I'm not going to pick, I got to wait. I'm literally, there will be 2 players. It has to be a third round player because that is a risk. Like, I need 2 consistent, awesome players my first 2 rounds. I guess third round is where I'd take Bijan.
Yeah, I think the only thing that could, I was going to say, even what if Cordell Patterson is no longer on the team? But it's like, dude, Atlanta doesn't score points. They don't score points. They do not have
and they might have what? Unless they get a veteran quarterback from somebody else, signing fucking Joe Flacco.
Russell Wilson.
Dude. Yeah, Russell Wilson. They say they're going to get Justin Fields, man. Probably like, if they got Justin Fields, I'd probably think twice.
Game on.
Game over. Flip. Jason. Jayden Reed left yesterday with a rib injury. The x-rays were negative, so he is going to be okay probably for week 18.
Well, he already did his damage. Well, he got like 2 touchdowns, and he's like, I'll sit the rest of this out.
I was just about to point. I thought my starts of the week were still up there. Yeah, we'll cover him in a minute, but Jayden Reed, x-rays, he left that game, was killing it, and then but he's going to be okay. So, Jason, speaking of not going to be okay, Christian McCaffrey made it all year long. He got a calf strain yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's going to miss week 18. Unlikely to play, pretty much.
Dang. I mean, He went through it. He tried. He tried to go through the whole year, and he almost did. Put enough MVP numbers this year. He still, I don't know. Did he score a touchdown? I know he had like 10 points in our league before he went out. But I was like, if you're playing for a commissioner that's like, yeah, we also do the finals in week 18, then your star player is you're kind of shit out of luck.
Like I said, is your league commissioner a psychopath?
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason, Christian McCaffrey. I think running back 2 was Raheem Mostert. Running back 3, goddamn Breece Hall. Like I was laughing about yesterday. So, dude, the biggest point difference, I think, the biggest positional advantage you had this season was Christian McCaffrey. Dude, running backs were a joke this year. Christian McCaffrey was like literally the only dude that was like an old school running back for your fantasy team.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because so running back 1 got hurt, only got 10 points. Mostert didn't even play in the finals. He was out. So it was like Breece Hall, running back number 3, who was the main star for this week.
Yeah, and that
in the top 5.
Gets 5 points. You know, he averages 20 rushing yards a game this year, and that fool's fucking running back 3. It's like, what the hell is going on in this league, dude?
Well, he was very inconsistent.
But I do not know how you do not take Christian McCaffrey number 1 overall next year. I mean,
he's him.
I would argue Tyreek Hill is right there with him, but dude, I'd probably take Christian McCaffrey. There's nobody else, man. There's just like nobody else. All right, Jason. Moving forward, Alvin Kamara had to leave the game yesterday with an ankle injury. No news on severity, but man, Alvin Kamara, I just want to talk about him. I waited for him. He was like, I remember when he's a top 3 running back in the league, trade value, everything. And he has just dropped off a cliff. Terrible for the last, 6 weeks? Something like that. Alvin Kamara next year is probably going to go like, 3rd round, Jason? Something like that?
Right. And he's going to be like a little bit old. Is he going to be 30 or 29 next year?
He's going to be 20. He's on that. I think he was 28 on your list this year. So he's probably going to be 29 next year. Yeah. And this team is just like a misfit of broken toys, dude. Like, I don't even know what to make of this team. But when he's playing, he's a heavily used running back. So probably around round 3 next year.
Yeah, he's up there. Him and Breece Hall were like, I think, number 1 and number 2 for the most targets or receptions for running backs this year. And, that's huge, especially in PPR formats.
And then here we go, Jason. I saw the box score from this game, and I was waiting for Noah Brown because I know Noah Brown had a bad matchup yesterday, but I was like, dude, it doesn't matter, man. CJ Stroud is coming back. I even saw some of the metrics with his percentage of fields or throws down the field at 10 yards plus and the completion percentage. Dude, he did well, but Noah Brown left the game with a hip injury, so that's why you didn't see a lot of him. And no news yet, but Noah Brown, man, was going to be a player that you could rely on today or yesterday and next week. But not so much anymore. And this is probably the end of Noah Brown being relevant, Jason, because next year Tank Dell coming back. I know he's got a broken leg, but Tank Dell should fulfill that secondary role with Nico Collins being that number 1.
Yeah, especially if like Tank Dell, when he does come back, like he may have like maybe a month where he's getting back in.
He's going to be somebody I target, dude. Like next year, I'm going to be like, I already know these guys like each other. They're already good. I will wait. Well, for 3 or 4 weeks is nothing in this fantasy season, man.
Yep. It's not how you start.
Yeah.
It's how you finish.
Get that value, man. Get that value, dog.
Nico Collins put up 15 points PPR.
Yeah, so Nico Collins coming through, man. Jason, Mason Rudolph is going to start this week 18 managers. The Steelers do have something to play for, so if you're relying on that, he did better than expected. So I thought it was going to be a disaster. Mason Rudolph actually was okay. He was just an average Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback this year, which is pretty shitty.
Yeah, and so if you have George Pickens, it looks like that's his favorite target.
That's a good point, Jason. Pickens gets the big bump here.
Yeah.
George Pickens, man. I'm sorry, I've been watching a lot about that football cards. Dude, George Pickens, people were so hyped up on, and he is just like in the gutters of value right now, dude. So Devontae Smith, Jason, left the game in a walking boot with a mild ankle sprain and is believed not to be long-term. So they are in the playoffs. Do not expect Devontae Smith to play this week. The Eagles do have seeding to play for, but I guarantee they do not play him because they need him in the playoffs, man. This team is hurting with Jalen Squirts. So yeah, I would expect Devontae Smith not to be available this week.
The Eagles need to win, and the Cowboys need to lose in order for the Eagles to win that division.
Yeah, so And then, Jason, bad news, man. And the Miami defense has been killing it as of late. Bradley Chubb,
yeah.
torn ACL. Vic Fangio got his guy, dude. Bradley Chubb, he drafted the fool. And now fucking out for the season. This team had a good chance to do well. I know they just got beat up in Baltimore, man, but they need Bradley Chubb.
He's going to definitely miss some time next year, too.
Yeah, and they already lost Phillips. Phillips was their other great pass rusher guy. So their two best pass rushers, Jason, is gone. So Miami's playoff hopes pretty much in the gutter.
Yep.
So Baltimore, man, again, I'm predicting Baltimore and San Francisco in the Super Bowl, pretty much. In the Super Bowl, no, are they both in the AFC, Jason? They're both in the AFC.
No, they could both play against each other.
No. I take that back.
They did play against each other. Remember in the dome when the lights went out with Colin Kaepernick?
Was it the Harbaugh Bowl?
Yeah, the Harbaugh Bowl.
Yeah, I was like, why do I think that? I always get that mixed up.
We're gonna get a rematch.
Yeah. So there you go, dude. I'm putting all my money on Baltimore and the 49ers in your fantasy playoff challenge. We'll talk about that in future episodes. All right, Jason, and then I'm going to erase this real fast because that is the news for you, but this kind of ties into the news and our next up with our, streamers and everything. I have a list, Jason. I made a list. Teams that do not have anything to play for, left to play for. I have 4 teams. So if you were in fantasy football, leagues, you do not want to start anybody from these teams pretty much. The 49ers, the Ravens, Cleveland, and the Chiefs.
So their seating's already done.
It's locked in. And I do have some streamers from here, but if they play, you want to play them anyways. Because I think there's a good chance they actually might keep some of these players I'm talking about in.
That's pretty good.
49ers, Ravens, Cleveland, and Chiefs, it doesn't matter. Their seeding does not matter whatsoever. They're locked into their seeds. So everybody else, literally has something to play for. There was a thread on this with a bunch of brains going on it, and then I kind of double-checked it, and that's what it checked out to me. So,
yeah, they definitely need to rest Lamar Jackson. He hasn't made it this far in the season in a couple of years. Don't risk it for another full game if you already got that seed locked.
Right, dude. All right, Jason, this will be fast. Your starts of the week, I know one was bad. I think one was good. DeAndre Swift was the one that was bad. DeAndre Swift, man, biggest disappointment. If you traded him away after those 200-yard games, you're feeling so good about it.
Right, and he was getting a lot of carries the 2 previous games before last week. I think it was 16 or 18 carries and 20 carries. I'm like, well, now he's going against the worst run defense in the league. And they're starting to get him 20 carries a game. I'm going to see that happen again. And he's only projected 13 points. He's definitely going to do it. Well, the Eagles need the ball in order to do that. The Cardinals have possession of the ball 40 minutes compared to the Eagles' 20 minutes. And so he only got, I think, 13 carries for 60 yards. He averaged 4.7 yards, but the Eagles just didn't have the ball. They didn't have the ball going into this thing.
Yeah, that was
the Cardinals just sit there. They were just completing third downs. And it's smart, right? I mean, you talked about it, their coach used to be the defensive coach for the Eagles. So it's hey, what do we need to do? We got to make sure Jalen Hurts is not on the field. So that's just.
When I saw that game, I was like, watch, dude. I was like, this is going to be close. And then I don't think it started off close at all. And then it ended up being close. And then they won. And I was like, holy shit. We got to pay attention to people going against their ex-coordinators, Jason. I forget, was it the Cowboys? It was Kellen. I can't remember what it was, but I was dude.
Against Seattle, where it was Dan Quinn.
Yeah, Dan Quinn in Seattle. I was just like, fuck, dude. So I think that matters, dude. I think now that we're so ball deep, hey, check your balls, man. Cancer Awareness Month.
Make sure they're really deep.
I just coughed afterwards. But yeah, what was really from this year, dude, awareness of offensive coordinators changing teams, dude, almost more important than fucking coaches, and teams facing their old offensive or defensive coordinators, man. It matters a lot. And then Jason,
they had a good game plan going in. Keep the ball away from the Eagles.
Yeah, dude. And part of that was your start of the week, dude. You super smashed this one, Jason.
Yeah, Mr. James Conner, but I mean, he did all the effort, He had 2 touchdowns or 1 touchdown, but he had over 100 yards rushing. James Conner is just one of those guys where you see the matchup and you're like, damn, this is a tough matchup for running backs. That's when James Conner usually does his best. And he got over 100 yards rushing. I know he had a 2-point conversion and a touchdown, something like that. God, I wish I had the stats up. But anyway, I do believe he got you over 20 points. And yeah, the Eagles' defense, not just their secondary, but now the running game should be worried for those Eagle fans.
Oh yeah, god damn it. So Jason, as a super smash for you, James Conner next year. What do you think about James Conner? Probably. I mean, they've been drafting running backs, but James Conner just seems to be constant there. I'd probably get him in the fourth, fifth round again, or something like that.
Yeah, was that where he was drafted this year?
Yeah, he was drafted late. I mean, I know I got Kenneth Walker later than him, and I got Raheem Mostert way later than that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember where Conner was, but I think it was like in the 5th round ish. I bet you he'll probably go around there again.
Yeah, sounds about right. And outproduces ADP again.
And then here we go, Jason. I got a bunch of injured people, but it's okay. So I said to start Jaden Reed. That was my main start of the week, Jason. I got Super Smash on that.
Yeah, you were worried that you're like, if he plays, he may not play, but if he plays, and he did.
Yeah, and that was and because of all the blitzing that he was like the number 1 wide receiver when they blitz, and my Vikings blitz the most in the goddamn league. So good matchup for him. Caught those 2 touchdowns, but he is injured. And then Jason, I said to start Baker Mayfield. I think he ended up being okay, but he
got 18 points.
Dude, he was terrible. He was terrible in the first. I thought he was going to be great. And man, he was took that whole like garbage time second half for him to do anything.
Well, that was a crazy game because I watched it because I had Baker Mayfield, and yeah, it was weird because he was at like negative points. He only had like 100 yards throwing by the time it was like the 4th quarter, and I'm like, bro, this sucks. But in the end, he had like 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion, and I looked because I was still thinking, I was like, man, he's probably only going to have like 12 points. But in our league, he had 18 points. I was like, ching.
Yeah, dude, last month he's been great. And next year, Jason, I would not want him to be my main dude, but I would draft him, especially if Mike Evans, everybody comes back again. I would draft him in my league, as a 2 quarterback. I'm probably always going to be drafting 2 quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. He'd be one of the quarterbacks I drafted. Him and Anthony Richardson or something.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Anthony Richardson coming back.
Man, I had him and Jalen Squirts this year. God damn it. Anthony Richardson, you almost got it for me. Oh yeah. And then so Baker Mayfield, okay. I did say to start Gardner Minshew because at home he averages like 20 points a game. He had one of his worst home games. I think they ended up winning. They ran the ball a ton, and I am going to be streaming him again. We'll talk about that in a minute. Because his home games, man, are like, he does so much better at home. It's kind of a flip of a coin if he's going to get over 20 points. He did not get over 20 points this game. I think he only got like 14 or something.
Yeah, well, the Raiders' defense have been playing very well since Antonio Pierce started coaching. But yeah, Minshew is like, with a healthy Pittman, Downs, Pierce, Jonathan Taylor, like, he's always a good start at home.
Yeah, he just has a really good offensive coordinator, and he's good at home, which is a dome.
Yeah.
And then, so, did not hit on that. And then Jason, Noah Brown got injured, so I'm putting a question mark there. I still think he would have done well. Okay. So, yeah, starts of the week, not bad. Jason, you and I both had a Super Smash. And some disappointments, that had good matchups.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Jason. You ready for streamers?
Yeah.
Should be streamers and wieners or something like that, but... So I do want to. So streamers are. I'm getting a lot of these from my waiver wire show because on my waiver wire show, I went for good matchups. Jason, I went for good matchups. So could you believe that, dude? Khalil Herbert is my streaming running back. He is only owned in like 30% of leagues right now. Oh my god, you better go get his ass. And if not, go get Johnson and stream him as your flex.
Where is Devonta Foreman,
dude? Personal reasons, Jason, for the last 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh!
So I got depressed because, dude, he got 6 rushes for -6 yards, I think, against Cleveland. He got depressed
No.
just like me, man. I mean, I checked out of fantasy football for about 6 days, and I didn't pay attention to him. And then he missed another game, personal reasons, Jason. So, dude, and I talked about this Khalil Herbert as far as like being elite, as far as dude, like in so many metrics this year, because we used to we found next gen stats in the beginning of the year. He was like at the top of the list in a lot of shit, and then he got injured. Jason came back, 18 rushes for 124 yards. Dude, he catches the ball too. He outsnapped Johnson 36 to 32. Yesterday it was even higher than that. He had a 69% running back share. And so they get Green Bay, dude. Green Bay is giving up the sixth most rushing yards and the third most rushing touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. Green Bay's defense has been atrocious.
Yeah, I started Ty Chandler this week, who got me 7.5 points, I believe.
The Vikings, dude. That Vikings offense was just, you can't judge them by Jaron Hall.
I know. Yeah, it's I felt very confident going starting Ty Chandler, but Vikings offense is it's very frustrating. It confuses me.
Well, they need a quarterback that can throw the fucking ball on time.
Yeah, to JJ at least.
So Herbert, I'm telling you, man, like if he was on your waiver show, like if he's on your waivers, you can go pick him up. He's like a low end running back 1 right now, maybe a running back 1 normal.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks, he's killed it.
Yeah, so streamer, that's like the stream of the week for me, man.
Did you
That's
say
pretty
like
much the only...
Johnson? I think also had a touchdown too.
He did, but he's getting Khalil Herbert got like the full workload this time, and I know it is. Jason, it's crazy. I mean, Zamir White, I just want to talk about him real fast. He is still available, dude. In like, he's only like 15% taken, and Jacobs did not practice all week. There's no signs of him coming back anytime soon. All right, though. But Jason, I do want to say we can stream for another week. And I say this, I think they're going to play this guy, and I think they're going to play Joe Flacco, Jason, even though the seeding means nothing. But Elijah Moore is going to be the only person out there that can catch passes, and he's still available in like 60-something% of leagues. So Elijah Moore, dude, he was second most receptions on the team. I don't think they're going to play Njoku. I would bet they roll Elijah Moore out there just to have somebody to throw to, because they don't have anybody. There's nobody healthy in that wide receiver core. So regardless of even if Joe Flacco doesn't start, I don't think they're going to start Njoku. They're probably not going to even start Ford. Ford catches a lot of passes. I just think streaming Elijah Moore, I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to get like 10+ targets.
Who's their backup? Because didn't their rookie
DTR is a DTR? I think
didn't he go to IR?
I thought he was back.
Oh, maybe he is.
I thought he was back. I have to check.
I'm gonna see what I can.
They might not even have like a backup they want to put in there.
Let me see what I could get my assistant to check out these stats.
But you know what I'm saying, Jason? Like I know
he's on
that
IR, yeah.
Yes. Oh shit. So like, there's a good chance that Joe Flacco is going to roll out there without Njoku and without Ford and just throw it to Elijah Moore about 100 times.
They might have to use PJ Walker.
Oh, that PJ Walker, and that's fine too, dude. I just like, my thing is right now, I'm just like, dude, they don't have enough. They have to put Elijah Moore out there. There's just nobody else. So that was my thought process there.
The Browns have lost so many players this year, and they're going into the playoffs with Joe Flacco.
Just think if they had fuck Deshaun Watson, but just think if they had Bradley Chubb, dude, and
Nick Chubb.
Shit, yeah. Just think if they had Nick Chubb, man. Oh my God, they'd be unstoppable.
Yeah, and they're a healthy offensive line.
Oh, they missed Conklin. Was it Conklin? And like, yeah, they had some huge offensive lineman misses too. Yeah. So Kevin Stefanski, man, I do miss you. I wish you would have been coaching the Vikings, but it's okay.
I miss you.
All right, Jason. This next guy, Patrick Mahomes dreams about every single week. Demarcus Robinson, man, fucking 10 targets this last week. He had touchdowns in 4 straight games. Heading into this week, he's got like double-digit fantasy points in 5 weeks in a row. This guy is insane. Matthew Stafford is fucking insane. Then the problem is he's at San Francisco next week, Jason. But San Francisco is giving up the 14th most passing yards, the 9th most passing touchdowns over the last 3 games. So they are average. And who do you think they're going to focus on? Do you think they're going to be focusing on fucking Demarcus Robinson?
No. You could throw him the 49ers. I started DeMarcus Robinson this week.
Dude, start of the week, Jason. I meant to text you that because I was looking through and I was all, Jason, man, great start.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way I am starting Deontay Johnson. I was like, and DeMarcus Robinson was there. And I was like, gimme.
So, yeah, dude, DeMarcus Robinson next week. Streamer, man. Mm-mm. And let's see. Here we go. So now quarterbacks. I shouldn't even have to talk about this, but Joe Flacco, if he plays, you are streaming him. And but the real streaming quarterback though, Jason, is Gardner Minshew. Like I said, dude, 11 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and over a 92 passer rating at home this year. He's averaging about 20 points per game in his last 5 home games. They host Houston next week. They are giving up the 7th most passing yards, the 5th most passing touchdowns. CJ Stroud's going to fucking throw the ball around this Indianapolis defense because they suck. So I could see Gardner Minshew at home having to catch up to CJ Stroud, Jason.
So you think it could be like a shootout, a potential shootout?
Exactly.
Yeah, give me some of that game. I bet you the over and under might be pretty high on that.
Yeah, I mean, they both have something to play for, and they're in the same division. It's like they're motivated. And that's what you're looking for at this point in the year, Jason.
Fueled by fear.
Give me fuel. Give me fire. All right. Jason, Juwan Johnson, man. Remember when I was like, if I had to wait on a tight end, I'd get Juwan Johnson and Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
And then I got Travis Kelce, and I feel like, now look at me. I'm a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Dude, 12 targets led the team. He has touchdowns in 3 straight games. He had like that last year as well. He had like 4 or 5 straight games with touchdowns in it. So this is not uncommon, Jason. 7+ targets in each of his last 2 games. They get Atlanta, dude. They're giving up the 10th most points to tight ends at over double digits. So great matchup for Juwan Johnson. Saints are still playing. For sure.
That's a good matchup. It's normally the tight end that can do pretty well against Atlanta. Except Cole Kmet, apparently. Thought this was going to be a huge game for Cole Kmet. That guy didn't even register a target.
And then Jason, last streamer, Tucker Kraft plays for Green Bay. Dude, if you need like 6 points or 7 points from your tight end every week, this guy is coming out of nowhere, super consistent. Christian Watson's probably going to miss another game if I had to guess. So, yeah, banged up wide receiver core. Tucker Kraft, Jason, has been a consistent tight end for Jordan Love for the last month.
I think what?
And they're giving up, and they're hosting Chicago next week, so they're at home, and they're giving up the 3rd most points to tight ends.
Yeah, I also think one of the most important things to say about this is that Jordan Love is playing okay.
Yeah.
At this time.
He is. He's not playing bad, so.
Last I saw before I turned off the game, he had like 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown against the Vikings yesterday.
Yeah, and I thought the Vikings were going to tool him up, but
I did too.
Vikings defense was doing awesome, and then they've been kind of not so much lately.
They like to keep things interested.
Yeah, well, hey, they didn't allow Aiden O'Connell any points. What about that? All right, Jason. Smashes and crashes. Now we're getting into that. First smash, Jason. 5 passing touchdowns. He said he was going to throw for 6,000 yards, but hey, he was not messing around, dude, about how much better he was going to be at the passing game this year. Lamar Jackson, Jason.
Yep. Well, when you could get 10 seconds to throw the ball, it definitely helps. I'm just scrolling up here. Sorry, this is very unprofessional. I should have been ready. Lamar Jackson, ESPN projected 20 points, and the dude finished with 40 in the championship weekend. 18 completions on only 21 attempts. Only 21 attempts, and he had 321 passing yards, and like Tyler said, 5 touchdowns. 6 carries for 35 yards on the ground. 85 completion percentage. 18% above expectation. That's the most I've seen all year. His average completed air yards was 9.3. That's number one heading into Monday night. So it's not like his passes were near the line of scrimmage or anything. He was kind of throwing it out there. His perfect passer rating was his third in his career, Tyler. He is now tied with Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Kurt Warner, and actually Ben Roethlisberger for the most perfect passer ratings in a career.
No shit.
Is this guy your 2023 MVP?
Oh my god. Let's see. I mean, in the first half, oh my god. Yeah, so he is the MVP. He just ran away with it. There's no question he is the MVP. He owns the Dolphins, Jason. In the first half, Lamar finished with 5 of 6, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns against the Dolphins blitz. That's his most passing yards against the blitz in any half of his career. His previous high came in, 2022 last year with against the goddamn Dolphins. So the Dolphins, we should, if we paid more attention, if we got a team doing research, we'd be like, holy shit, he owns the Dolphins. Top 3 games by EPA per dropback in the NGS air all belong to Lamar Jackson, dude. So he is efficient with his passes. He's got like the top 3 rating of those. Dude, Lamar Jackson, you'd think that he's just like this Justin Fields type of guy. When he came out, I remember them talking when he came out of Louisville. He's like, hey, this guy has touch. This guy has this. He's like a baseball thrower almost. And it has proven to be accurate, man. He is a really good thrower of the ball. You put him in the right system with some fucking weapons. They were saying this was the first time he actually has weapons on all, 3 levels, Jason. And hey, one of the best stacks of this year, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers.
Right. Zay Flowers had like a 80-yard touchdown in this game too. He's going to be good. Him and Lamar Jackson. Yeah, they're going to be pretty good.
So Lamar Jackson next year, Jason, probably gone by round 4?
Yeah, I'm getting him in like round 3.
So he's going to be one of those top guys because he runs the ball. Even though he didn't even run the ball that much. I'd like to see how many rushing touchdowns he had this year, Jason. Probably 3.
Right.
So,
well, he was scoring quite a bit of rushing touchdowns early on in the year. I do remember that. I know he has at least 4, but what would you think about this, Tyler? So next year, the top 3 quarterbacks that people are probably going to try to draft in the draft, the mock draft, the fantasy football draft, would be oh my god, what's his name? Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. Scoot away, Patrick Mahomes. Get him out of there. Lamar Jackson is going to take his place.
He has not had a rushing touchdown in the last 9 weeks. And then he had 5 rushing touchdowns in the first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. So, then Jason, he's got his last 4 weeks, dude, since the bye. 36 points, 17 points, 22 points, 40 points. So, yeah, dude, he's going to be a top. I mean, with Zay Flowers coming into his second year, they've got Isaiah Likely just in case Mark Andrews isn't doing well. They need Keaton Mitchell. They need another running back. But, yeah, dude, he is one of the top tiers next year.
Oh, we got to remember J.K. Dobbins. He'll be back next year.
I'm sure I'll be drafting J.K. Dobbins at some point, Jason. Don't worry, I do it every fucking year.
Then I'll draft Gus Edwards in.
All right, Jason, next up.
All right.
This guy has been, falling off as of late, but he came back for your owners, man. We thought this guy was a top 3 running back in the first half of the year. Travis Etienne, Jason.
Yep. He was ESPN projected him 13 points, and he finished with 28. 16 carries, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns at 6.4 yards per carry with a long run of 62 yards. He also had 2 receptions for 16. 8 men in the box, 25% of his runs, which is only 4 of his runs. So only 4 of his runs, he saw more than 8 men in the box, and that is kind of surprising to me because only 8 men in the box went 25% of the time. He managed 26 yards or rushing yards over expected and 1.62 rushing yards over expected per attempt. Those are pretty solid numbers. Panthers, the last 3 weeks, give up an average of 16 points to running backs, which is 21st. The Jaguars, using a backup quarterback, I'm surprised they didn't focus more on stopping the run, but they didn't. And they paid for it because you got 20 points.
So Jason, but yeah, ETN, this was coming out. This is out of nowhere. Okay, so since week 10, he has not recorded more than 56 rushing yards in any game, while averaging 15.4 touches and 61.4 total yards. Man, he has been running back 30 in fantasy points per game since week 10. Jason, so
Yeah,
terrible. He's been terrible. He's been fucking terrible.
This is surprising, and it's like, how did it happen with a backup quarterback?
Exactly. So I mean, with a breathe hard. Outside the top 12 for the last 7 weeks, and top 5 finished this week. Jason, I mean, that's great. If you started him, you probably had to. You probably weren't even. You probably didn't even get to the championship if you had him on your team. And then, but next year, Jason, Travis Etienne. I mean, how many workhorse running backs do we have? I guarantee this fool goes by like the end of the second round.
Really? Dude, they got Tank Bigsby, time. Man. Like, I feel like they got to start using Tank Bigsby. But you're not wrong, too.
I thought they would this year, but I don't know if this is the way Doug Peterson runs his shit or what.
Yeah, remember in the offseason, Doug Peterson's like, I'm going to get all the running backs I can. I'm going to use them all. That. And then, no, he just uses ETN.
So we need to pay. I think we need to pay attention to this offensive line, Jason, in the off season. Absolutely. I think that's going to determine how we feel about ETN.
Yeah.
Because we said they lost that Juwan Johnson, and it fucking hurt him, dude. This offensive line has been shit. So
yeah, one of the worst in the league.
All right, Mr. Jason. Speaking of some fucking, where the hell does this guy go next year, dude? Davante Adams.
I know.
21 targets or some shit last night.
Oh yeah, ESPN projected him 13 points, and he finished with 31. 13 receptions, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns on 21 targets. You heard me right. 2.9 yards average separation, but that's not surprised because Davante Adams' running skills, he's great. His share of team air yards was 58.52%. That is third in week 17. His 21 targets is really the only stat to talk about. That is an insane amount of targets. If he had a catch rate of 50%, he would still have 10 catches. He had 11 more targets than Jacoby Myers, who was second on the team with 10. Adams had a down year. He did. He had a down year this year. But you play him because of Aiden O'Connell. O'Connell knows. He's like, if I want to look good, I got to throw it to Adams. And he definitely tried to.
The problem is, Jason, that Aiden O'Connell throws for like 120 yards a game with one touchdown.
Yeah.
For a while. But you know what? The last 3 games, Davante Adams did terrible last week. He fucking killed it the first week. So 2 of the 3 weeks, man, he was a top 3 wide receiver in fantasy football during the playoffs. So I traded him away to get Justin Jefferson, and it looks like that was the bad move.
Yeah, but who also would have saw this coming? The Raiders were just like a roller coaster this year of emotions.
And Davante Adams, Jason, targeted on 21 of his 48 routes, the most targets in a game since Adams accomplished the same feat in Week 10 of 2015. Isn't that crazy? So this is the second time he's done that. Yeah, Adams caught every one of his 8 open targets for 84 yards. His most open receptions in a game since 2019 with Aaron Rodgers. So, dude, Davante Adams has a pretty crazy career, man. Second time he's got fucking 21 targets.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Well, it's like Cooper Kupp, dude. If you could route run the way you do, like the way you are a great route runner. You have a 3 yards of separation. That's like open in the NFL. That's open right there. Just it's going to happen. Just wait. Let him do his route and throw it to him. He'll be open.
He'll be open. Okay, Jason, on to the tight end smash. This is somebody we already spoke about, but still, let's fucking smash it, dude. I think he's got to be the number 1 tight end this week. Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, you pretty much said it, man. Like, what'd you say, Eden? Your streamers?
The streamers?
Yeah, he was projected 4 points this week, and he finished with 19. 8 receptions, 90 yards, 1 touchdown on 12 targets. The most targets he has received all year. This guy was crap all year until the fantasy football playoffs. Last 3 weeks, 10 points, 12 points, and 19 points in the finals. A touchdown in 3 straight weeks. He has a 5.6 yards after catch in week 17, and he had a nice 32-yard reception where I thought it was going to Chris Olave. I was like, about time. He's thrown it to Chris Olave. But it was Juwan Johnson up the middle, fingertip catch with a front flip. It was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. Basically Johnson helped managers win leagues this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I should have started him over Kelsey every single week. So, but Jason, let's see. Juwan Johnson set career highs in targets with 12, receptions with 8, and receiving yards with 90. That's funny. That's his career high in receiving yards, but still, Johnson accounted for 53.3% of the Saints' air yards. That is the 6th time a tight end has accounted for a majority of the team's air yards in a game this season. So 6 times, man, a tight end has scored, has had 50% or more of the team's air yards this season. Now, that's tight ends, man, taking over the league.
That'd be nice. This was a weird game, though. We're going to talk about Chris Olave here in a minute, but you know who's so he scored 1 touchdown, and do you know who scored the other receiving touchdown?
Oh shit, who was it?
Taysom Hill, the other tight end. So it was like the tight ends in this going against the Buccaneers secondary, where normally
against the terrible against that terrible secondary. Olave should have had so many points, dude.
I know. He should have killed it, but they were going after the tight ends.
Speaking of tight ends, Jason, you ready for the smashes?
Crashes.
The crashes. More like loose ends. We got some more loose ends over here.
Right. And we're going to start with
Jason. Oh. He's on all the commercials. Hey, my name is Patrick Mahomes, and I like State Farm hat.
What's that? MVB? Mahomes.
Hey, you got a bundle. I'm out in the most valuable bundle hat.
Oh, man.
The most valuable bundler.
That's what it is. Man, I'm like so blurry right now. Okay, so ESPN projected him 20 points, and he finished with 11. 21 completions on 29 attempts, 245 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and a fumble loss. His average completed air yards was 3.7, and his attempted air yards was 5.5. Mahomes did not attempt a lot of passes to the third level of the defense. Most of his passes were around the line of scrimmage. His completion percentage was 72, which was -2 above expectation completion percentage. There were more drops by the wide receivers in this game. The Chiefs wide receivers had dropped 40. The Chiefs wide receivers had 40 drops on the year. That is the most in the NFL this season. And they were 3rd and 12 for third down conversions. They couldn't finish drives when they were in the end zone. That's why Harrison Butker had a season high of 6 field goals made. We keep saying it. This is just not the same Chiefs team as last year.
Well, Jason, I remember one of the bets before the season was like, Patrick Mahomes threw for 300 yards, more or less than X amount. And you're all, I was like, what do you think, Jason? Oh, yeah, that's an easy bet, man. What the fuck has changed, dude? What's changed? Well,
right.
They did lose their offensive coordinator, and I don't know if that's it or what, dude. But the wide receivers regressed. But here we go, dude. Patrick Mahomes this season, man. Top 5 quarterback finishes only twice. He's only been a top 5 quarterback in fantasy twice this year. Twice out of 17 weeks, pretty much, or 16 because he had a bye. Outside the top 13, Jason, for the last 5 weeks, he has not even been a top 10 quarterback in 5 weeks. Mahomes has thrown for, 108 yards on deep passes yesterday? That was his first game over 100 yards on deep passes since Tyreek Hill left the team. So it's coming back, man. It's rearing its ugly head. Since week 8, Jason, among 38 quarterbacks, Mahomes is ranked 25th in yards per attempt and passer rating, 13th in completion percentage over expected, and 14th in highly accurate throw rate. So 14th in highly accurate throw rate. That is concerning to me. This offensive line, dude, is terrible. And they have the 5th highest drop rate and the most yards lost to drops in the league. So it is like him not throwing. It's just a combination, dude. There's variables of him not being able to throw accurate because of the offensive line. And then when he fucking does throw, his people don't catch the ball. And they aren't even that good to begin with, Jason. So
we saw I saw it this week again with what's that guy's name? Stanley had 2 drops, and where it could have been big plays, And we already know Tooney, he's dropping everything. Rashee Rice drops the ball, but the good thing about that, he still gets like 10 targets a game, so he gets 9 other opportunities to make a
No,
catch.
fuck it, man. Who else am I going to throw to it?
Yeah. Yep. So
The children.
it's just crazy to see this because last year he went out and won a Super Bowl with basically the same team. Then they added Rashee Rice, and yeah, I guess just maybe Matt Nagy's. This is not his thing. They are rushing the ball more, than they did last year, but maybe it is offensive coordinator. They just can't figure it out. Maybe it's Father Time. It's not really for Mahomes, but just like some other player we're going to talk about. I don't know.
Well, Jason, next year, Patrick Mahomes, how far down are you letting him go?
I am not getting him before Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, or Jalen Hurts. Because, Tyler, you have him in one of our leagues. Do you remember what round you drafted him in?
Second or third?
So, second round, and you're telling me this guy has only had a top 5 finish twice, and then during the fantasy playoffs, he wasn't even in the top 13?
No, he was one of the biggest busts of the year. I mean, he is. And what was I gonna say, dude? Oh, I would have. Who would you rather have, Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes next year?
Oh shoot! I bet they'd be going right next to each other. But
I would rather have Herbert.
I think I would rather have Herbert too.
So
at least he has like more weapons.
But I am all about that Mahomes next season value, Jason. Hey, and if you're into football cards, go pick up Mahomes football cards because this is the one time where his shit is going down in flames. Jason.
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson, it's like his card is the top card when I open up my app. His gone up like 500%, dude, in the last week.
We just missed it. I know.
All right, Jason. Next up, James Cook, my fantasy MVP from last year. I thought I was 1 year off, Jason, but 2 of the last 3 weeks, not good.
Yeah, this guy is good. I got something to say about him. He was projected by ESPN 14 points, and he finished with 4.5. 16 carries, 48 yards, 3.0 yards per carry, only 1 reception. Okay. 8+ men in the box, 6.25% of his carries. That is very low. But, I believe like Bill Belichick just didn't want to get beat through the air, so he had more of his players in the secondary. But this is an awesome situation for Cooks. So he must have good stats, right? Right? It was minus 13 rushing yards over expected and a 0.8 rushing yards over expected per attempt. Wrong. Those are horrible stats. So horrible. Cook is the greatest magician in the 2023 season. Weeks 11 through 14, he was putting up 12 to 21 points. And managers were like now thinking, hey, now this is the reason why I drafted Cook. But he plays a great run defense of the Cowboys in Week 15, so I'll need to start him, or I need to sit him in the first round of the playoffs, right? That makes sense. But then he puts up 35 points against that great Dallas run defense. So now you're like, now he was the start of the week. He's a league winner against the Chargers, so you have to play him. But he disappears with 70 yards and a fumble. And then he remained hidden in the fantasy finals. We finally saw him, and now we don't. The greatest magician of 2023, James Cook.
Yeah, so Jason, he out of the bye, he came out against the Chiefs, was a top 3 running back finish. Versus Dallas, we were afraid. He was a top 2 running back finish. Then he got the Chargers. We're like, holy shit, dude, this is the best matchup ever. Running back 41 finish, and then this week, running back 43 finish. But at least this week, Jason, like this is understandable. Let's see, where the hell do I have this? Oh yeah, right here. The Patriots have has had an elite run stopping unit all year. Since week 11, they have allowed the fewest rushing yards per game and yards after contact per attempt, while also giving up the 4th lowest rushing touchdown rate and missed tackle rate. So they have been one of the pretty much the run stopping unit for the last month plus 2 months, I guess. And then so James Cook. And I said I predicted this to be a bad game or a tough game for what's his name, Josh Allen, and that just meant less scoring opportunities for James Cook. So it was just a bad game for Buffalo, dude. That divisional game in bad weather against Bill Belichick knows how to play Buffalo.
Yeah, it's just crazy that only 6% of his rushes that he saw more than 8 men in the box.
It is crazy, dude. That's what doesn't make a lot of sense. He didn't do a lot with it.
And I was that manager in one of my leagues that I had him benched most of the year until I saw those weeks that he started to perform, and I was like, oh, dude, maybe I got to start playing this guy. But I was like, oh, but he plays the Cowboys, so maybe I'll just wait one more week, and then he blows up, and then I'm like, okay, now I have to play him against the Chargers because he's killing it right now, and then nothing. I was like, dude, I'm not risking it, and I did not start him this week. I didn't.
So, Jason, if Joe Brady stays in Buffalo, does James Cook go 3rd round or higher, 3rd round below, 3rd round ish?
I think he goes exactly where he went last year.
That's how that was like 5th round, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, I think if I bet you if Joe Brady stays, we'll have to see how the season ends up. It's gonna because even though the postseason shouldn't matter, it will matter. But I bet you he's like in the fourth to 3rd round next year. All right, Jason. Next up, Chris Olave should have had an amazing game, dude, but no.
Yeah, this was strange. He was projected 13 points, and he finished with 3.5, 3 receptions, 26 yards on 6 targets. He was second on the team in targets. Juwan Johnson had 12, like I said before. His average separation was 2.9, the same as Devontae Adams that we mentioned even earlier. But his attended air yards was 6.4, and that's well below his season average. This was a surprising outcome after last week's performance and a favorable matchup this week. Plus, he was on a hot streak for either getting 100 yards or a touchdown in the last 5 or 6 games. The tight ends were the only ones to benefit from Derek Carr's 197 passing yards this game. It was just a surprise thing. Usually, it's like you start your wide receivers against the Buccaneers because their cornerbacks are awful. I even think one of the quarterbacks was out, so they had a backup cornerback playing. I was surprised.
And Baker Mayfield didn't play his best game until the second half, so it wasn't really forcing the issue for the Saints to throw the ball downfield a lot.
Yeah.
But Olave, dude, dealing with the ankle injury, his 6 targets were still the second most on the team. He's had at least 94 receiving yards in 4 of his last 5 games going into this game. Olave, he had a 25% target share with a 41% air yard share. That's amazing. And he had a 32% first read share. That's great, too. So all of his stats going into this game against this unit was amazing, but they must have saw something that they liked running Juwan Johnson, and that's just the play they ran off of every single play pretty much, and it went to Juwan Johnson's way. So Tampa Bay was not defending that play apparently, so it kept on going to Juwan Johnson.
Right.
So yeah, Chris Olave though, Jason, next he was a 2nd round draft pick in a lot of leagues. I mean, our league, or one of our almost league winner drafted him 2nd, and it was a huge bust, dude, for a long time. Then he started playing well, Jason. Where do you think he goes next year?
I think I would like to see him probably go in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick him up in the 2nd. He is not a 2nd round pick player for me.
I think he's wide receiver 22 right now.
It's fucking Derek Carr that I don't want.
That's what it is. So. Give me Jameis Winston. I'll get Chris Olave 1st overall pick.
Oh yeah. I'd lead. He'd have 1 million air yards by the end of the season.
Yeah.
There would be no W's being deep throated, Jason. It would be all L's. Hopefully,
right.
Jameis Winston likes to taste the L's.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, Olave, disappointing season for where he was drafted, but he's going to be right up there again next year probably. But Derek Carr, dude, huge disappointment this year. We talked about him in the beginning, Jason. Andy Dalton was just as good as Derek Carr.
Right.
And that proved to be about it.
They were the same player, just one was 5 years younger.
Yeah. And now, Jason, one of the biggest busts of the year, my first draft pick, I just missed out on Tyreek Hill. I wanted Tyreek Hill. Somebody drafted him. Then I had to get Kelsey. I got fucked. Travis Kelsey, crash.
Yeah, ESPN projected 11 points, I think it was. And he finished with 2.5. He had 3 receptions, 16 yards on 4 targets. He was tied on the team for 3rd in targets. Kelsey has been on the crash list for the most this year out of tight ends. Granted, he is always projected the most points by tight ends, so it's easier for him to crash if he doesn't reach it. But in the playoffs, he had 4.5, 6.5, and 2.5 points. It's not just all his fault because the Chiefs' offense is a mess right now, and I feel like they should be worried. This does not look like a championship caliber team.
Jason, since week 8, among 48 qualified tight ends, Kelce has ranked 9th in target share with like 18%, 18th in some yards. I'm not going to try to explain that. 6th in receiving yards per game, dude. 55. He's had 55 receiving yards a game, Jason. 6th in first read share. That's 24%. Dude, he should be number 1 in first read share. What the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then and 9th in fantasy points per game. So he's been like, if you look at the top 8 tight ends, you're like, oh man, I like all those guys. He's been the 9th. And that is not good, dude. So no touchdowns, Jason, in the last 6 games. Jason, no touchdowns in his final 6 games of the last season either.
Yep.
So we talked about this in the offseason, man, and I drafted him anyways. But next year, I'm thinking he's going to be going in that Mark Andrews range, and I'd rather have Mark Andrews. So maybe 4th round, late 3rd, 4th round next year, and I don't want a piece of it.
I'm almost to the point where it's like, maybe these tight ends, you could wait a little bit.
Well,
pass up on Mark Andrews. Pass
Sam
up on
Laporta.
Sam Laporta. I'm a big fan of Trey McBride.
Dude, Trey McBride, yeah. Those players are going to be going like in the 5th, 6th round, Jason. I think you'd have to get Mark Andrews probably in the 4th. Hawkinson probably in the 4th, 5th. He's coming off that fucking crazy injury.
Yeah.
So there are some tight ends to take next year, dude. Like, we just named 4 or 5 of them that we'd probably rather have. So Kelce is going to be going 4th, 5th round next year. It's crazy. 1st round draft pick to 4th, 5th round.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest busts of the year. We'll cover that later. All right, Jason, that is it. Am I missing anything?
I think we're good. I think we did it.
All right, everybody, that is the show. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hanging around all year. Do not stop watching us now, man. We got fantasy playoffs, the challenge coming up, dude. We're really into that. And we just got, cool talk about fantasy football all year long. So do not get discouraged, man. Continue to believe in us, hopefully. And hey, hopefully we earned a thumbs up. Hopefully we earned a subscription. If you are not already subscribed, man, we need your help. We need to make this show big. We want to blow this shit up. And that starts with you right now, subscribing. So please help us and support this show. Jason, please send us out.
Yes. Please subscribe, because it'd be great not to be in the corner of the house. I've been moved to a corner of the house. I am losing space in my own house. It needs to be larger.
Quit making humans, dude.
I know. And the only way that can happen, if we get your support. If you're there for us, we'll be there for you. We do have a video coming out.
If you're there for us, we're there regardless, Jason. We're here regardless.
I know, but it's supposed to be poetic. So we got a video coming out Thursday. It's going to be our player pause for week 18. And Tyler and I will do a combined video. We're going to do a combined video of players who to start, who to sit for week 18. That'll be out Thursday. I will see you then. I will talk to you then. Deuces.
This is the Fantasy Red Zone, and we appreciate you.